Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chicago Club travel show and entertainment show. I'm Dorothy Pacella, and I'm your host for these shows, and we're delighted that you could join us. Did you know the Chicago Club is the largest club in the village with over 700 members? Did you know that we're over 40 years old? Did you know you don't have to be from Chicago to join the Chicago Club, even though I'm from Chicago? And did you know we're the friendly club? We really are. But there's a lot more to the Chicago Club than just travel. I know many of you enjoyed our shows every month, but there's a lot more to us than just travel, a lot more than a pretty face. We're having fun, and we absolutely do monthly events at Clubhouse 5. We have great musical entertainment acts that you would absolutely love. We have every now and then we add a comedian to make you laugh. So we're at Clubhouse 5 every month, the second Thursday at 7 p.m. And we welcome all, even non-members are welcome. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy our complimentary desserts as well, along with the GRF cash bar. But as many of you know, we travel. And the Chicago Club offers monthly day bus trips to all over Southern California. They're wildly popular, and we're quite famous for them. So we enjoy doing our trips. We even enjoy our daily. We piqued your interest. We have some coming attractions for all the events that we're going to be doing in Clubhouse 5. I think you're really going to like it. It's going to make you want to sing. It's going to make you want to laugh. And hopefully it will make you want to get on a bus. So sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy the show.
How we doing? We doing all right? Oh, oh, baby, she rolled me a letter. Feeling all right. Oh, I'm not feeling that good myself. Unchained, oh, my heart, set me free. Oh, you're my Delta lady. Oh, you're my Delta lady. You can leave your hat on. Love lifts us up where we belong. Far from the world below, where the clear winds blow. Lend me your ears, I will sing you a song. I will try not to sing out of key. Oh, baby, no, I never. Said I'm gonna make it with my friends. Hey, I'm gonna keep on trying. Oh, you know I need someone
All right, guys, I gotta tell you one thing. I swear to God, like when you have a baby, the biggest thing that happens is all of a sudden you get these boobs out of nowhere, right? It's like boobs galore, right? Like this guy's looking at me like, that must have been a long time ago. And I gotta be honest, I kind of liked having boobs for the first time in my life, you know, because what I have right now is tits. And isn't that nuts? And I thought about it. I'm like, should I get implants, you know, join the Hollywood crowd? That'd be really cool. But then I thought, like, well, how do you know what size to get, you know? It's not like you go to the mall and you try on a dress, you know? And I think we should be able to do that. How do you know if you want C's or D's? You know, don't you think so, ladies? So I thought the best way to do this is make homemade implants before you commit and go try it out one night to test it. So I went dancing to test it out. Tell me what you think now. Go ahead.
Chicago Club is going on one of its trips. The bus just got here.
We start with this area that we call the wave of change. This is about the 60s. This is about kind of the turmoil and the chaos that people were stepping into. And we really did want to create a space that was a little bit of an assault on your senses. Because you turn the corner and you see the inauguration and you step into the Oval Office.
Included an agreement to end the war and bring peace with honor in Vietnam and in Southeast Asia.
China Gallery was a really important one for us. Of course, one of the landmark pieces of Nixon's presidency, truly changed the global landscape. And so we wanted to create a space that really honored that.
And that all of our children have a better chance than before of living in peace. This, more than anything, is what I hope will be my legacy to you.
Well, this is a culmination of a lot of things we've been doing over several decades now in downtown. This is our capstone project where we have knitted together into the fabric of the neighborhood, old and new. This is the 1919 packing house building that has been restored over the course of 4 years now. And we are having the grand opening of the Labs project here, the packing district.
We are called the Lab, Little American Businesses. So here we have 26 food vendors. These are all local artisans. There's no national tenants in here. And so just the fact that it's, you get to restore a beautiful old building. It was like restoring an old ship and create jobs and put 26 businesses together and operating. Like the whole thing is just really, really exciting for us.
The Hilbert Museum was founded just 3 years ago from the generous donation of Mark and Jan Hilbert. They donated hundreds of pieces from their personal collection and funds to make it happen and keep us free and open to the public and, of course, all the university students.
Art is underappreciated, but I think art is a wonderful way of telling a story, and it really forces you to history of anything, or it can just be a depiction of the artist's own feelings or emotions, and their.
It's always a pleasure to come.
The Academy Museum of Motion Pictures will open, creating a home to celebrate and explore the diverse and complex tales behind the movies we love for the first time. The massive 300,000 square foot campus features 2 breathtaking designs that forever changed the landscape of Los Angeles. One is a stunning restoration of a building from Hollywood's classical era. The other, an awe-inspiring glass sphere housing a state-of-the-art 1,000-seat theater. And featuring a 5th-floor terrace that delivers show-stopping views of the city. Dynamic galleries and multi-screen exhibitions will immerse you in movie magic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chicago Club Travel Show. I'm Dorothy Picella, and I'm your host for today. Today's our second month, our second trip, and we're back on the bus. Look, the bus is behind me again. I'm so excited. We're headed to downtown Los Angeles for all the treats and highlights. So I can't believe that we're actually doing this for a second month. Beautiful day, it's October, and we can't get going as soon as we possibly can. Our guests are with us. They're all excited too. So come on aboard. Chicago Club. We'll see you real soon in the bus. Guess what we're doing today? Yes, it is. It doesn't project. It's on the camera. Oh, so yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not supposed to be loud enough. So anyway, welcome to our second month of our trip. And we're so excited that you've come along with us today. So I just want to hear from some of you what you think about our trip today and where we're going. Are you all excited?
Yes, I brought my list so I know where we're going.
That's good, because Hoffy tends to get lost. So you're good. So you can sit kind of near the front for him, okay? You do that. Pat, what do you think?
Well, I'm with Carol, so she'll tell me where I am and where I'm going.
I love it. I love it. And Maxine, are you excited today?
I am. I'm going to San Antonio Winery. First time I've ever been there.
You know, that's right. Maxine said that we're going to the San Antonio winery, and she's never been there. And the owner has a special trip for us today, too. So I've not been there either, as many wineries as I've done. Okay, Mary, you've got to tell us what you're thinking about today's trip.
I think she should tell you her story about the winery. She's been giving their wine away for Christmas for years with their names on it. And she's never been to the winery.
How exciting. So you take advantage of their personalized gifts that the winery offers and all this time, but you've never visited the winery. Well, you are an honored guest today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, everybody, let's get on the bus.
Okay, good morning, Chicago Club. This is Hoffy. We have a really fun tour today. Downtown LA is going through a lot of changes. Despite the talk of the problems LA has, which is homelessness, of course, we have some beautiful things to visit. The new Frank Gehry mixed-use project with a hotel and luxury apartments right on Grand Avenue is going to be fantastic to look at. We're going to go to the beautiful Our Lady of the Angels Cathedral. We're going to go to the newly restored Union Station, which, as you know, was refurbished. They did it over a period of 5 years for the Academy Awards, and we're going to take a look at that. Then we're going to go to the only operating winery in Los Angeles, the San Antonio Winery. The food is great, and the owner, Santo, will treat us like kings and queens. It's a cultural heritage landmark. We're also going to go to Little Tokyo's Japanese Village Plaza. Little Tokyo is one of the nicest ethnic neighborhoods. The shopping is great, and it's a historic district. We'll also cruise Broadway and Spring Street and look at the historic theaters. And on our way out, we're going to see the hip Arts District. They've taken an area of warehouses and factories and made it into an area of lofts, fancy restaurants, and museums. So I think people will think twice about LA. They'll absolutely love it. So downtown LA, here we come. But I think a Tuesday is a good day to go. Then we're going to go to Union Station. Union Station was the last great train station that was built in a major city. And it is a combination of Spanish colonial and Art Deco architecture. But what I think is fabulous is what they did to the ceiling. I'll talk about that more later. You can't believe what they did. So we're going to do a walking tour there. Then we're going to go to the next page called Know Your Wines. Does everybody see that on page 3? Dave, no, I like beer more than wine. Dave likes wine more than beer. So Dave is going to be our wine sommelier expert, and he's going to talk about different types of wine.
Actually, I'm not.
Well, he's not a sommelier, but he's pretty...
I'm not going to talk about wine.
Yes. And then we have the Great California Quiz, which is a lot of fun. It's all about California. And finally, remember we're going to Little Tokyo, everybody?
You're going to have to wait 1 second.
Do you guys see the map of Little Tokyo? There's really some fun places to go. So that's your map for shopping and strolling in Little Tokyo's Japanese Village Plaza.
Did you say we have a half hour there?
You have a half an hour there, depending on the time, maybe more, but minimum half an hour. Okay, so what do you guys think of the itinerary?
Oh.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot to mention one more thing. On the way leaving Los Angeles, we're going to go through the famous Arts District, which is the new hippest district in LA. Does everybody see the little, there's a little map I drew on the back of the first page, and you'll see all the different districts. So I'll let you go now for a second. I'll be back with you in a few minutes, and we'll talk about Los Angeles. Spectacular. It also has the largest use of alabaster of any cathedral in the United States. It is a very revered place for the Catholics, and it is beautiful inside, but we're going to go to the other exhibit if we can see the tapestries later. But nevertheless, we're going to go to the entrance, and we're going to go to the side, and we'll take a look inside. But we need to respect the family, obviously. Yes? Yes, you can go back to the bus at any point. There is a ramp here on the left. Yeah, yeah. For the missions, and you can see the round feature below the cross. That makes mission revival architecture. That was brought over by the Spanish. And it was such a popular style that in 1893, when they had the Chicago World's Fair, what are you going to put for our California? This is a statue by artist John Graham, and it's the Virgin Mary. What's unusual about her? No veil, first of all, no veil, and you notice her arms are not covered. Roses. And the roses did not grow in part of Mexico. When he brought him back to the village, it was proof that he had seen the Virgin Angel. So this is the Virgin Angel, the Virgin of Guadalupe. And guess what they did? They built a great basilica near Mexico City called the Basilica of Guadalupe. And this is look at the birds. So you notice that they planted oranges and citrus because the Spanish brought over oranges and citrus. So it's only appropriate that the landscape architects chose that as one of the plants that they would adorn this plaza. Yeah, let's walk through the garden, guys, on the way to the bus. This is a place for the kids to play. You know?
If you will look to the left, you see the entrance to the Grand Park. So what happened was, in the 1950s, these city fathers, they wanted a downtown. So what was here on Bunker Hill? A bunch of Victorian homes. So what did they do? They declared them blighted, eminent domain. They tore them all down. They were beautiful, Romanesque, Queen Anne, because they wanted skyscrapers. Let's face it, LA's a major city, so they simply tore them down and gave people money and had them relocate. What did they build instead? They built the City Hall in 1928, and of course the Water and Power Building here. But what they did is they wanted a park, but it wasn't very good. It was a little bit of a mall. Nobody liked it. But then in 2005, the city said, "Hey, New York has Central Park. Excuse me, let's have a great park for LA." So I'm going to ask Raphael to pull forward a little bit. Can you pull forward just a little bit so they can see City Hall? Okay, and then stop about, keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop right there. Now, this is very, can you see City Hall, everybody? It was designed in 1928. It's the Superman building. It's the building that Superman flew out of. That's the Daily Planet building. And that is on all the police officers' badges. And during Laker season, they light it up, purple and gold. But look at that design. The top looks like a Greek mausoleum temple, doesn't it? It's kind of classical revival Art Deco. It's a really beautiful building. And it's the tallest building that they allowed in 1928 because of earthquakes. You can actually, the mayor and the city council meet there. The mayor works there. And that is the most famous building in Los Angeles. Notice how it gets taller as it gets narrower as it gets taller. Does anybody know why that's true? It's due to the earthquakes and it's due to New York. Anybody from New York here? Okay, in New York, they built a building in 1919 that was straight from the sidewalk, 39 stories. It was called the Equitable Building. It was a mess, all the shadow on the street. So the zoning law in New York said, if you're going to build taller, you have to make it narrower and narrower. So the building had to look like a wedding cake. That allowed more light to go on the street. Architects thought, that's pretty nice, that's a good look. So guess what? Starting in 1925, all big buildings throughout the United States started looking like wedding cakes or ziggurats, influenced by the New York zoning code, even if shade wasn't an issue. Now, look here, guys. This is the Wilton Beckett Water and Power Building. And that's actually a pretty elegant mid-century. That's about 1958. That is a beautiful, elegant building. And look, you can walk all the way from the plaza here all the way to City Hall. And guess what? Now LA has a place to play. They have a Dia de los Muertos celebration here. They have food. So LA finally has a place where everybody can gather. And all the furniture is magenta. They chose, the landscape architecture firm chose. I think that's fun, isn't it? Everything is kind of a purpley red. Now, one more point. Starting in 1893, a lot of urban planners said American cities should be beautiful. There should be sweeping vistas between one landmark and the next. Figure Washington, D.C. Remember, you can see from the Washington Monument to the Lincoln Memorial to the Capitol Hill. That's called the City Beautiful movement. Sacramento, where our capital is a long park. Don't we have the same thing here now? Influenced by the City Beautiful movement. So I'm proud of LA. We now have a place we can relax downtown. Okay, guys, pretty good background, I hope.
Okay, let's see how we do here.
You want to turn on first or second?
I want to see if you can park after first. Maybe not. Looks like a lot of cars there. We're going to actually get out. Those that want to get out. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, I guess you have to buy tickets in the van.
See, Frank Gehry doesn't like symmetrical buildings. He likes buildings to be jumbled. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So they call that architectural style deconstructivism. The Russians invented it, and it's like you take a building and you jumble it. Look at. Yeah, I'll start this in 1 second.
And yet the Russian buildings, what they put in place, are just
Those horrible like modernist, yeah, exactly, yeah. And the Cubans, of course, were funded by the Russians there. Yeah.
So why do you think there's no beautiful parks right there?
They're all living by the freeways. I don't know. That's a good point, Nora. I don't know. Because that's a nice place to hang out. Okay, everybody, I'll start. I'm pretty excited here, sorry. I get excited. Okay. Here we are on Grand Avenue. When I was a kid, I would go to the music center. We would go watch a performance, and there was nothing to do. It was boring. Downtown LA was lonely. Nobody lived here. We didn't even have a meal here. We just went to the performance and left. So look at what happened. They want Grand Avenue to become a great cultural center. Now look at this. They want it to be a big plaza. They want, when there's a performance, they want people to spill out into the street. They want this to be the cultural heart of Los Angeles. Because right now it's kind of boring. There's not enough people walking around. And here is, yeah, and here's the design right now that you're looking at. This is the new Frank Gehry mixed-use project called Grand, because we're on Grand Avenue. It cost $1 billion to build.
That's not Frank Gehry.
It's Frank Gehry also. Yeah.
When does it open?
Yeah, it's going to open in about 6 months, I believe. Now let's take a look at it. Frank Gehry likes deconstructive architecture. He doesn't like a symmetrical building. He likes to jumble things up. So notice how as this building gets taller, the windows aren't exactly straight, the floors are jumbled, but it makes the building more interesting. I call it deconstructivism. Look at his dancing hall in Prague. It's another example of this architecture. But you have to admit it's visually interesting. The colors are subtle. I believe the right-hand side is going to be the Equinox Hotel. These are going to be luxury apartments. You can also see the balconies. In the middle is going to be a plaza with a movie theater and retail. But let me tell you something. He designed it in 2005. What happened to the economy in 2008? We had a recession. This project has been 16 years in the making, and they're finally building it. Now, don't a lot of people shop online as it is? So we wonder if the retail is going to make it. This has to become a destination.
What about restaurants?
There's going to be 3 restaurants in there at least. So it's going to be exciting. When there's a concert here, they're going to a concert. It was built in the 1920s, and it was a United Artists Theater. But the theaters left downtown and they went to the suburbs. So what did they do? They put a hotel in here. It's now called the Ace Hotel, but they preserved the theater. The theater is this funky, Spanish, Gothic, scary, live theater. I saw Rick Steves, the famous tour guide, give a speech there. But this is the Ace Hotel in the historic United Artists Theater. It is wonderful. I'm so glad they preserved it. And look at, they're having concerts. Rustin Kelly, Diego, I don't know who these people are. I'm not hip enough. Okay, thanks.
Oh, they're selling tacos there.
Oh, yeah.
The rooms are kind of small. Why do you think?
Well,
because it used to be an office building above a theater. So the rooms are not luxurious, let me tell you. Yeah, stayed there one night, yeah. Look at the Gothic statues. Okay, we've got a treat coming up here now. At 10 o'clock is the biggest Art Deco building on the West Coast, the Eastern Columbia building. Take a look at it. It's turquoise terracotta. It is absolutely amazing. Look at the sunburst if you can go, I mean, probably somebody behind you, but look at the sunburst pattern inside. That is considered the biggest and one of the most beautiful Art Deco buildings on the West Coast.
Have a name?
It's called the Eastern Columbia Building, and I want to stay in the penthouse. Okay, here's the Orpheum Theater. It has now been reconverted to a concert venue. I saw Norah Jones, the daughter of Ravi Shankar, the guy that plays the sitar with the Beatles. Beautifully restored. That's the Orpheum Theater. This used to be a department building, but I don't remember which one on the left.
Oh, no, that's Broadway.
That was Broadway, yeah. This is where the old Broadway was. Yeah.
It says 1881.
1881? Wow, 1881. Oh, this is a fun story now. This, on the right is the Tower Theater. It was bought by Apple, and they've restored it. So if you go into the Apple building and you look up, they restored the 1920s architecture. So next time you come to downtown, what a beautiful job. They spent millions of dollars restoring it. So kudos, I guess Apple has a little bit of money. They have a problem though. People go in to look at the ceiling, they don't want to buy a computer. They've had a problem there.
That was my company, corporate.
That was May Company, yeah. This used to be the May Company on the left.
Corporate flagship store.
Yeah, the corporate flagship store. Hey guys, why are there no parking lots here on Broadway? Because it was built before cars. It was built in the late 1800s and early 1900s before they had to worry about parking lots. Oh, somebody asked me about the Grand Project. It used to be a 3-story parking garage. Ugly, ugly. Now it's 5 stories of parking underground. That's why they're parking the cars. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. Here's the Globe Theater. By the way, some of the theaters are churches. Some of them are concert venues, and some of them are just dumpy.
And the pot store.
Yeah. Oh, there's the pot store, guys. We'll drop you off in a second. Look at this Art Deco. Ross Dress for Less. Look at the beautiful Art Deco on the left.
So
that is.
that's Bullets, the old Bullets.
Oh, the old Bullets, yeah.
Here,
This
where it
one's
says
with Burlington.
From here to,
Yeah. So we are in the historic court. Here's the State Theater. If you look, do you speak Spanish, anybody? Pare de sufrir, stop suffering. It's a Mexican-American church. Stop suffering, come on Sunday, and you'll listen to a sermon. Jesucristo es el Señor. So it's pretty obvious that that old theater has become a church. I love Broadway. Look at all these little stores. See? Oh, we're right next to the jewelry district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seven.
Yeah, in fact, this street is the jewelry district on 7th and above us. This is the old Bullocks on the left. On the right is the Clifton's Cafeteria, the famous cafeteria on the right. My wife and I stayed in the hotel up above.
Did we eat there once?
We did eat there a long time ago. If you'll pull over to the right a little, Raphael.
Oh,
Let's
it's
see how we're
closed
doing
again?
in time. Yeah, it's closed again. Yeah, you can go ahead now. Clifton's Cafeteria is closed again. I don't know what's going to happen to it. Here's the Palace Theater. It obviously is not in good shape. But the most spectacular building, the most spectacular theater was the last one built. Take a look on your left at 10 o'clock, the Los Angeles Theater. It's monumental classical revival architecture. Inside, it looks like the Hall of Mirrors in Versailles. So when they want to film a medieval classic, they go in here and they pay good money to film inside. This theater was so beautiful. There was a crying room. If your baby was crying, you took the baby into the crying room and you could still see the screen. I went to go to the bathroom there and I felt guilty. There was all this beautiful Rococo detailing. Amazing. The LA Theater, 1931. This is kind of fun on the right, everybody. This is called the Arcade Building. It goes from Broadway to Spring. They refurbished it, and there's a bunch of stores now. Take a look down the Arcade Building. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, absolutely. So here's some examples of the theaters that nobody has loved. This is the Arcade Theater, and this is the Pantages. They used to have live vaudeville acts here before talkies. They actually had vaudeville acts. So you can see some of the theaters have not, there's nobody to invest. So would you say LA's making a comeback?
Yes. Sort of.
But look at it's sad to see the homeless people. If you look to your right, that's Spring Street, the historic bank district. Now we're coming up upon Grand Central Market and the $1 Million Theater. You can't see it very much from the bus, but this is one of the biggest projects on Broadway. It goes up 27 stories, and it's all going to be apartments. You know, people don't think Los Angeles is that dense, but it's got 4.1 million people. They have a lot of density. LA's first skyscraper is the one on the right. See the one in back on the right? 1899, LA's first skyscraper. On your left is Grand Central Market. It was opened in 1917. It's got 21 different restaurants. They redid it 8 years ago. It's now kind of hip, but you can still get a regular taco. And look at, they let people sit outside. They did away with a lane of traffic. Look, the most popular one is Egg Slut. Egg Slut. It's a Fairfax roll with a fried egg. I don't think it's that great, but anyway. On the right is the Bradbury Building. It's so famous. Can you see the little little plaque the guy is polishing right there. See the plaque? That building is so famous, it's a National Historic Landmark. That's the most famous designation a building could have. It's considered famous because it was built in 1898 and it has these elevators and a light shaft. So the design was so unique for an office building, they made it a National Historic Landmark. So that is one of LA's most famous buildings. They filmed Blade Runner with Harrison Ford there. Here is the $1 Million Theater on the left. It's now a church. It holds 1,100 people in the audience. It's the $1 Million Theater. Oh, and you can see Frank Gehry's project from this side now. You see the tower at 10 o'clock on your left? Would you say LA has a tremendous diversity of architecture? The newest building in downtown, other than there's a good shot of Frank Gehry, is the new courthouse. Look at the federal courthouse on the left at 10 o'clock. It's energy efficient glass, and you can see as we drive up, it cantilevers over the sidewalk. It is as if the building is floating on the base. I actually sort of like it. It's not exactly reflective glass though, is it? But you can see we're getting some bounce light, aren't we? That's the new federal courthouse, a place you probably don't want to visit. Away from the top of Bunker Hill. And notice I said the furniture is magenta. Can you see the magenta benches? And then if you look, you can see the water and power building to the left. See it, everybody? Oh, the park has, here's the ugliest public art I've ever seen. But remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. This is the triforium on your right. It makes music. See this thing that looks like a ladybug? It actually makes music. Now, if that isn't ugly, I don't know what is.
It looks like a cell phone tower.
Yeah, it looks like, but it's not a cell phone tower. Here's the United States Courthouse again. And guess where we're coming, folks? We're coming to Alvera Street, El Pueblo de Los Angeles, where LA was founded in 1781. Yeah, this is a very big concentration of homeless here. They seem to congregate above the freeways, which seems to me to be really sad because of all the fumes from the cars.
So we're in the beautiful San Antonio Winery. This is, I think, a gift to Los Angeles, the Ribbley family, what you've done. And how about the service? I mean, the food is good. Oh, food is good. Yes, and Rick is, remember, he greeted us. He greeted our bus. So, Rick, take it away, man.
Well, welcome, everybody. First of all, show of hands, how many folks have been here before? Historic landmark number 42. This winery has been here continuously operating since 1917. To give you an idea, that's the year World War I ended, and that's the year I started shaving. No, I'm kidding. The year Lenin took over the Soviet Union, okay? The Bolshevik Revolution. So we've outlasted the Soviet Union. In the day, this area is now called Lincoln Heights or Chinatown. In the day, it was Little Italy. Lots of Italians immigrated here during the war because obviously there was a war going on in their backyard. Lots of Italians came here. Most of them raised their own grapes and made wine, you know, the old I Love Lucy thing, for their own personal consumption. When they opened this winery in 1917, there was 90 operating wineries in downtown LA. 90. Santo Cambianco, that handsome gentleman with the handlebar mustache, started this in 1917. He emigrated from Italy. Again, the war was just coming to an end. He sunk his life savings into this place. And what happened 2 years later? Prohibition. Illegal to sell, make, or drink alcohol. And he just sunk all of his savings as a young man into this place. What did he do? Well, first of all, people still drank, believe me. Al Capone made all his money. Speaking of Chicago, Al Capone made all his money. Joseph Kennedy, the father of our president, made a lot of money smuggling whiskey in. So people still ate and drank. They just did it under the table. But legally, they couldn't. And he had an operating winery now with people all over looking at him. So what did he do? Well, he was a devout Roman Catholic. He knocked on the doors of all the churches, cut a deal with the priests and the bishops, and he sold the churches sacramental wine for their sacraments. Brilliant. Exclusive deal with the church all throughout downtown LA. When Prohibition ended in 1933, this was the last winery standing. As a result of that, all the other 90 had gone bankrupt and withered away, gone. Fascinating story, a real American success story and ingenuity. So if you look at some of these pictures, this is downtown LA in the day. That little church, if you look in the middle row, the middle picture, that church still stands, Queen of the Lady of Angels. And behind it is the Hollywood Hills, completely barren. No Griffith Observatory, no Hollywood sign, no 101 freeway. It was a very rural area in the day. Okay, that church still stands. To the right and top of that is the Italian American Club, the Italian Hall. That's where all the Italian families that lived here, there was their social club. They would celebrate their children's baptisms, their first communions, weddings, and things like that. And if you look at the photo below, each and every one of them has their own bottle of wine. Those Italians knew how to party. So, I'm going to take you through, and I know we don't have a lot of time. Here's the original winery building from 1920. Tiny little shack. And again, this was 1 year after Prohibition, so even though he was in there making wine for the church, and only the church, positively no drinking, because it was illegal.
Where was he getting the grapes?
Sourced from all through Southern California. Out in Chino, Riverside County, Burbank, that picture up here, that's where the Burbank Airport happens to be now. Look at it, it's just ladies picking grapes and dressing. It's crazy, only 100 years ago. So here's where they made the wine in this back room here, and I'll take you through there. But, you know, it's crazy. This driveway that the trucks take to pick up the wine, take it to the Archdiocese, you're standing on it right now. It's been renovated, obviously, and expanded many, many times. Santo never had any children, but he wanted to create a family legacy. So he writes his sister in Italy and says, send your son, Stefano, to me. So Stefano Rivoli, different last name, because he was his sister's child, married. Stefano Rivoli comes here, works with his uncle, learns the business, and ultimately ends up taking over the winery. Santo, confirmed bachelor, never married. Stefano said, that's fine with you, uncle. I want to get married and settle down. His uncle takes him to a barbecue out in Chino where he meets Madalena. Okay, Madalena was working her dad's vineyard out in Chino, out by the Ontario airport. Okay, in fact, there's a street there called Vineyard, and that's because it was all vineyards in the day. They plowed them all up to make that airport, just like they did this airport. So Madalena really was much higher educated than these two guys. She came in, and they lived right upstairs here, where our offices are now. This was their entire sphere of life, right in this building. They lived upstairs. She cleaned up the books, cleaned up the receivables. She had much more book educated than the guys, and got the place running really, really well. So well, in fact, the railroad was going back and forth there still. You hear the trains. She started selling boxed lunches to the railroad workers and made a fortune catering the railroad workers. So much so they were making more money selling lunches than they were selling wine. Smart lady, brilliant lady, and the restaurant is named for her. She opened the bodega here, right where those wrought iron grates are, and sold wine and sandwiches there, and it ultimately became the restaurant that you see today. They had 3 children. Santo, named for the uncle, the original, Steve and Kathy. All 3 of them work here in the winery today. 3rd generation, they're all still here. In fact, Santo's son, Anthony, 4th generation, went to UC Davis and became the winemaker. He got a degree in viticulture. So literally a guy that never had a child but wanted to pass down a family business, he's got 4 generations of it now. It's an amazing story. Okay, let me take you in and show you, because I know we don't, as you can see, the winery expanded. We currently have 3 sites. We have this site here, same building since 1917, obviously expanded. We have a huge wine shop and tasting room in Ontario, by the airport off of Milligan in the 10. And our big production facility is in Paso Robles. Okay, we crush all of our grapes there. Any of you familiar with Stella Rosa wines? Sweet ones, right? That we own that 100%. All of those wines are made and bottled in Italy and imported. All Stella Rosas come from Italy. Those are high sugar, low alcohol wines because they're fermented for a short period of time. The 10 vineyards we own and we've acquired over the years, 5 in Paso Robles, 4 in Monterey up by Pebble Beach and Carmel, and 1 in Napa. All the grapes from those are sourced and crushed in Paso Robles. We don't use our feed anymore, though we have machines to do that. Half the juice is then trucked here and we make wine here. The other half stays in Paso Robles and we make wine.
Where do you fall in the family?
I'm an employee, I'm not part of the family. I keep asking them to adopt me.
Hey, and by the way, that's Mayor Sam Yordi.
Yes.
Mayor Sam Yordi, who is designating this a cultural historic landmark.
Number 42, exactly right.
Love it.
Now, if you look up at the first building where they made the wine, those arches are still here.
Wow.
Everyone almost in? These are 140-year-old oak barrels. Obviously, we put some nice logos on them and fixed them up. That's a hand-carved barrel. These are the original barrels that we use to ferment the wine. And does everyone know how we make wine? We take grape juice, put it in a barrel, add yeast. The yeast has a chemical reaction with the sugar in the grape juice, just grape juice. It converts it to alcohol. That's the fermentation process. So a short fermentation, high sugar, low alcohol. The longer it ferments, converting more sugar to alcohol, the sugar level comes down and the alcohol level goes up, and that way you get dry wines like Cabernets, Chardonnays. So Stella Rosa, short fermentation, high sugar, low alcohol. Dry wines, longer fermentation. It's a teeter-totter. The sugar goes down, the alcohol goes up. Okay, so this is our original fermenting room. It's been expanded. We use it for a lot of functions now. Eventually, after Prohibition and things, we can sell wine to the public again. These barrels weren't enough capacity. And don't worry about me talking, I'm fully vaccinated.
All right.
Nice and cool here.
You're South Texas guitar. Back up. Need my phone? Well, I did.
I'll listen to you.
So, on capacity, we reached capacity with those tanks. and we were selling more wine, so what did we have to do? We had to get bigger tanks. And we used these redwood tanks, double the capacity of those barrels, and then ultimately, these weren't big enough. We graduated to these. Okay? Now, everyone who makes wine commercially uses stainless steel. Okay? And there's two reasons for that. The first is, as I said, when the yeast is gobbling up the sugar, it creates high temperatures inside the vat. It's very hard to control the temperature in these. Okay? They hose them down on the outside, they packed ice around them, but it gets very hot inside there if you don't control the chemical reaction. And if it gets too hot, the wine will spoil and you'll have 700 gallons of vinegar. Not a very good business model. So one reason they go to stainless steel, if you see those dimpled bands around the tanks, we circulate glycol in those bands, antifreeze if you will, and that keeps the temperature controlled inside those tanks. Those tanks right now have wine from grape juice fermenting. It's not wine until it's done. We keep the temperatures in there around 50 degrees. And as we walk to the next room, I'll have you touch this tank here on the way out, and you feel how cold it is. But so the two reasons we go to stainless, one is that, yes?
Yeah, where do you get the yeast? Do you have to buy the yeast?
Yeah, we buy the yeast, commercial yeast. It's a specific yeast that's used for winemakers, but we buy it.
And is there a whole bunch of types of yeast? Or
No, there's really a couple of types, and the winemakers have their own brand that they like, but it's yeast. So, as I said, the reason you have to control the temperature, this is very difficult with the old redwood tanks. The other reason is cleanliness. We can scrub these things spotless on the inside when they're done. These tanks, it's like if you had a wooden spoon and you stirred spaghetti sauce, it stays orange for the rest of its life. It never becomes clean again because the liquid interacts with the wood and soaks into it a little bit. Even if you put it in the dishwasher, it still is stained forever. Same thing inside these tanks, they get a little funky inside. So in the day it was low tech, this is how things work, but now it's all about sanitation and sterilization of the equipment, so stainless steel keeps it all clean. However, there is no marriage of the liquid and the wood in stainless steel. Nothing's interactive, right? It's completely inert. So when it's done fermenting, we put it in oak barrels. And then they're aged in the oak barrels to give the wine its character and its flavor. I'm sure you've all read a review that said this is an oaky Chardonnay. Well, it's oaky because these are oak barrels. We get them from France and from here. They're usually 55 to 59 gallons. And the wine is aged in those, and it absorbs some of the character of the wood into the liquid. And that's where you get the enhanced flavors. Make sense?
Stay in there.
The fermenting takes a few months in the big tanks. White wine, 10 to 14 months in there. Red wine, 20 to 26 months. Red wine is more complex. It has the tannins, you know, the thing that makes your tongue go when you drink a dry red wine. So it's more robust and it takes longer to age. Let's go. California redwood trees. Now, when you come by here, touch the tank, and we're going to walk this way, but it's sweating from the difference in the temperature. Feel how cold it is on your way back. Here's one of our private tasting rooms. Okay, but I have a couple more to show you. But feel free, touch the tank. There's wine fermenting in there as we speak. Mm. And you guys are very lucky today. We're bottling as we speak.
Oh.
Okay. Yep. You hear
This
the
is a
clanky
treat.
clank.
This is a treat.
Yep. I'll just wait till everyone gets in. And please shout out any questions as we go along. Okay, so these again are more 100-year-old fermenting barrels that we fixed up and made pretty for the room. Another event space in here. Obviously, pre-COVID, we were going 7 nights a week with events, parties, everything. Things have quieted down, but slowly starting to pick up. Okay?
All right. Now we're getting the real deal here.
Okay. Do not touch any of the equipment, okay? And you're welcome to video with your phone if you'd like. Come on in.
Thank you.
Don't touch.
Estate, although the house is ginormous, is Rupert Murdoch, who started Fox News. He owns it, and he lives there with Jerry Hall, Mick Jagger's ex. So a little bit of LA trivia. So if you watch CNN, don't drive up that way. Come on in here, last room.
Careful. There's a step there.
Just watch your step with the hose, okay?
There's a step there. Oh,
Oh, I love this.
this is great.
Where are you going?
I'm from Boston.
All the way.
Big game tonight against the game. Big game.
Oh, this.
It took 8 years to restore the station. It took $4 million. And in 2017, they were up in a scaffold, and one of the guys was chipping away at the ceiling, and it was tar and smoke from decades of use, and they discovered, wait a minute, there's a beautiful pattern of flowers under there. This is kind of like Art Deco. And they looked at it and they said, wait a minute, the whole roof is this beautiful. But they didn't know what the paint was, so they had to chip it away to try to recreate the exact color. So as we go in, let's take a look to the left and we'll see the ceiling. Yeah, you do need to wear masks inside the station. Yeah, go over to the left.
Boy, is this heavy.
This is so heavy. This is the ticket concourse. This is where they filmed the '93 Academy Awards. They built the stage up here. This is where people used to go buy their tickets. Now it's simply a beautiful room. You can rent this room out for a party. So remember, 1939, all the smoke. Look up. Look what they discovered. Look at the pattern of the flowers. And they discovered this was like it in the entire ceiling. It took $4 million and 2.5 years. Also, look on this side. This is more of an Art Deco. It's not really flowers on this side. And it's not underground. But now they're building the Purple Line, which is going to be a subway under Wilshire Boulevard all the way to the beach. So slowly but surely, LA is trying to build better mass transit.
That's our show for today. We hope you enjoyed it. But better yet, we'd rather see you in person. We hope you can enjoy us. And better yet, we would love to have you become a member. Check our website for all the details of the great shows, the great trips. And when you realize that membership only costs $30 for the entire year, it is the best deal in the village. $30 gets you into all the events. And then it gets you a discount on our day trips. Who does that? We do. Take care. Bye-bye. See you next time.